Hey guys, we're back. Welcome back to the Review Goo, where we talk about what we think, what we like, what we dislike about movies. Today we're doing one of my all-time personal favourites, classic film, The Titanic. With me today I'm joined by Zephan. First things first. Initial thoughts after the film.
Well, this is the first time I ever got through the film. Because, I'm not gonna lie, when I was a little kid I found it really, upsetting. Seeing
but it's years
all these
ago.
people dying in the water.
I know, but
and everything. I couldn't get past the bit where things started flooding.
I know, but once again, it's years ago. It's just a film. But no.
Yeah. But I loved it. I thought it was really emotional at the end.
It is very much. I cried at the end of the stuff. To be honest with you.
But it was very dramatic.
Yeah.
Very tense.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been a bit shorter.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say also. With that in mind, aside from it was good, I would say aside from the start, because the start of the film, where they're on the boat and they're looking for the heart of the ocean in the Titanic, that bit is it's just unnecessary.
I think they could have
way too.
They could have had 30 seconds, and then them just come down and find it.
It's just a waste of time. They spend way too much. They spend way too much time in the submarine.
Definitely,
because they just go down and there's just this whole scene of them just looking.
Definitely.
Wait, how is it they just happen to find the
but that's the whole point.
The locket.
That's the point of the plot.
What's it called?
The vault.
The vault. Yes. How do they happen to find it?
The point of the plot is that they find the vault, so then have to get Rose.
I know,
to explain what's going on.
They have no idea where it is. They don't even see it. It's underneath a door, and he just happens to think, "Oh yeah, it's there." So
are you saying the whole of the film can be reduced to just a chance?
Essentially, yes. Because there's no way. It's ridiculous. It's just a chance.
The fact that it is kind of that dynamic of the old Rose telling them about the old thing, I think that works really well.
It does.
Because you have these brief periods of narration that are really funny move the plot along.
It's such a clever idea to have it told from the old woman's point of view. Because it also sets up the idea that the dramatic irony with the audience, because we know that Rose survives because she's the one telling the story.
Exactly.
It's now.
So you want to know how does she survive?
Exactly. It makes us want to watch more and want to read on.
Exactly. There's Jack. There's this whole new component that we introduce of Jack, and it's like, does he survive?
Yes, but everyone loves Jack. Everyone hopes he survives. I'm just going to say now, the film is very, very well cast. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet are absolutely so convincing.
I think that all the cast are very good. I think Rose, the young Rose, has a tendency to be a bit annoying sometimes.
No, but I love the old Rose. The old Rose is hilarious. She's such a savage. She's actually down with the kids. She's just terrible. She's got all these roasts.
And then at the end when she has the locket.
Oh yeah. Why did she throw it away? Is my question.
Well, it's meant to be with the sea, isn't it? So it's got this whole it comes round, and I do like that. I like how the locket is like a theme the whole way through, and you want to see how that vault ends up, how it does, how the locket ends up, how it does. Why Rose is there, Rose's experiences. So it all goes through the whole film. I think that's really, really well done.
Yeah, but I get it. But I mean, at the same time, she doesn't know how much that diamond is actually worth. I'm sorry, I mean, love you, Jack, see you never, but at the same time, I'm just going, if I was Rose, I'm going to the first pawn shop I find and I'm pocketing that diamond. She could have been so rich, she could have had such a lovely life. But no, she decides to hold on to it.
True.
It just annoys me. She could have made so much money, but she decided not to, just give it back to Jack at the end.
Let's talk about the plot of once we've actually got into the main centre of the film, which we both agree could have happened much earlier.
Yeah.
It could have been 5 minutes, then we're in.
Yeah. It takes 20 minutes to get into the film.
We counted, guys.
It actually takes 20 minutes to get into the actual film. It's annoying.
Absolute nightmare. Yeah. So, once we're in the actual film,
yes.
I think at the start it's really funny how everyone's like, oh no, this ship will never sink. It's totally unsinkable. The
Titanic sinking is by far the most ironic thing to ever happen in history. It's literally they literally titled it The Unsinkable Ship, and it sank.
Yeah.
Everyone's bigging it up. Oh, it's the best ship ever. It will never sink. God himself could not. I think what they did with Hockley is because that line there was him challenging God. So God he said the words, God himself could never sink this ship, and then lo and behold...
Then you have the priest at the end. So it all comes around, and then heaven at the end. Yes. So is God a theme?
God could be a theme throughout it.
Could you consider God as a theme?
but he's not. But I'd argue that God isn't the cause of the Titanic.
Well, no. The cause of the Titanic sinking is
that's up for debate. That's
yes.
up for interpretation.
I believe this is a worthy discussion.
Yes.
Who is responsible for the sinking of the Titanic?
There's multiple opinions. I personally believe that it was Mr. Ismay, because he's the one. He knew full well that there were icebergs out there. He knew full well there were ones way big enough to sink the ship, and yet at the same time, just because he wanted to get his money's worth, he was ordering the captain to speed up with the iceberg one.
But is it not Mr. Andrews' fault though?
For what?
Because he was the one he even admits at the end.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Rose. I built a bad ship.
Well, they did, but he didn't actually build the ship himself. He came up with the idea for the ship, and he made all the plans.
He made all the plans.
Yes.
If he'd have made a more rigorous ship, then this wouldn't have happened, and people would have survived, and it wouldn't have sank. It's his fault for building such a bad ship.
Yes, but I mean, at the same time, it's a new ship. They say in the film that it's the biggest ship that's ever been built. How are you supposed to know how the ship is going to pan out if you can't compare it to another big ship?
You're saying we should cut him some slack.
I'm cutting him some slack, because if they wouldn't have been steaming ahead through the Atlantic, they wouldn't have smashed into the iceberg.
But is it not the people who were like...
What, the lookouts?
Yeah, the lookouts, because they took forever to actually notice that there was an iceberg there.
Yeah,
they were just...
Once again, if the ship... once again, if the ship was going slower, they would have had more time to see it.
Fair.
That's why I blame Ismay. And somehow he survived. He got away. He got on a boat, and he
Mr. Andrews didn't survive.
And
the captain didn't survive.
Yeah, the captain didn't survive. But let alone the guy whose fault it was survived. Yeah. That's the thing that annoys me about this film.
By the way, can I just say, I love the mentions to Freud and Picasso in the earlier
Rose is such a savage. I think just Rose, the young Rose and the old Rose. Rose is just savage.
Yeah. Can we just say we hate Hockley? Is that what he's called? Hockley.
Hockley, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. Don't like.
He thinks he rules the world. No, the other person I hate is Rose's mum. I hate Rose. She looks like the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
She actually does. I love the authenticity of this film. The film's so authentic to its time. It's so accurate in all this.
I wrote that down. But when we go from present day to them being back in whenever it was, it suddenly becomes like it's realistic to the time.
Exactly.
And when you see like how all the people react to the sinking, how people live their lives, the first class, third class, all of that, the orchestra, everything is just really authentic.
I don't know why you find the orchestra so hysterical.
I thought they were funny.
They've got so much nobility.
Yeah, but they're funny, aren't they?
Okay, right. Okay,
let's
move on. CGI is a train wreck.
But I mean, I think you ought to give it.
So bad.
I think you ought to cut it some slack.
Yeah, it's made
on the grounds that it was made like 25 years ago.
Granted, but it was made years ago. But at the same time, I mean, it's still. If you're going to have such a big budget, I would spend more time on CGI. If you're going to have, do you know how much money they had to make the Titanic film? Millions. And if you have such a big budget as that, I'd argue you would spend more time on CGI.
Yeah.
Granted, it's just that one scene. Look, watch this. Where the guy walks onto the screen, where they're doing a general overview of the ship. He looks like oh my god, he looks like a video game character. It's appalling.
I know. Now let's talk about arguably the biggest thing, the central thing to the plot, Rose and Jack's relationship.
Yes.
What's your opinion?
I love it. I love the idea that they managed to take a horrible tragedy that happened years ago and managed to turn it into a love film. They shaped that so well, so that
while still making it authentic.
While still making it authentic to look like a tragedy.
Yeah.
They balance it so well between the Titanic sinking and Rose and Jack's love.
I think that it's a bit unrealistic that they're like, oh, I love you after meeting each other like 5 times. What I think
it's love at first sight. That's the whole point. It's movie love.
I think what would have been better is that they would kind of start to be in a relationship, and start to kind of be edging towards that way, and then the ship sinks, and then the fact that they're going through surviving the ship sinking brings them closer together, and then at the end they're like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and then Jack dies.
Yes.
Rather than that realization happening earlier.
That's the whole point, is that they knew, because we have to be prepared that Jack is going to die. So they need to know that they are so madly in love with each other before Jack dies, so that it could set up the idea for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So that way, when Jack dies, it's more dramatic because we know how much Rose loves
but
Jack.
I think it should be built. I think it should be more of a gradual build.
Yeah,
I think their relationship could be more gradual because it feels just really sudden after like 5 scenes of them being together.
Yes, but the whole point is that it's movie love. They're meant for each other.
Okay, but really the plot is the last hour of screen time. There's no plot. It's just them evading problems. They already know they're in love with each other.
Excuse them for trying to not die on a sinking ship.
They're already in love with each other, so what's the point?
Stand on the front of the sinking ship and kiss each other again.
What's the point of the rest of the film until they need to realise that they're in love with each other throughout the rest of the film? Because then, I mean, once you've got Hockley out of the way, there's no real point to it, is there? I also think, why should Hockley survive?
Just because, I don't know, maybe I'm so upset. I'm so upset he survived. Well, I have no argument. Okay. He shouldn't have survived.
Yeah.
I hate it. I wish he got. I wish he didn't survive. I wish he would have died on. Yes.
Film is long.
Yes.
And I mean long.
It's over 3 hours, which is long enough. Long enough for a film already.
I would say there's about 20 minutes of footage in that film that didn't need to be there. Of them just chasing things and being chased.
They dragged it on for too long.
Definitely.
Just pick up the key, put it in the lock, and get it out.
I think
that's it.
The other thing that's a bit ridiculous is when Rose uses the hammer to get Jack out of the handcuffs.
Oh my god! Don't get me started.
That is completely unrealistic.
Do not get me started.
9 times out of 10, Rose would have hit Jack's hand.
Yes.
It's completely unrealistic.
She's never had any axe training whatsoever.
Exactly.
Also, what was the point in the actual training itself? That's also
that was wasted screen time.
Once again, bad time usage.
Yeah.
She missed the mark.
Thin the plot out.
I'd argue they've done that well though. Is the ship sinking scene? They've done that very well.
They did that cinematically.
Yes,
it looks good.
And they've managed to implement Jack and Rose into it and their relationship. Not well, but they've managed to implement.
They managed to do it
because there's the only part of it I think is that when Rose refuses to leave Jack by the way, she's an idiot. She got on the boat. She was home free. She was safe.
But she loves Jack.
Left.
She loves Jack. That's
I know,
the point.
but I'm sorry, Jack. You're gonna die anyway because I've watched the film. She's gonna die. He's gonna die anything anyway. I might as well have just got on that boat.
It's well how they do Jack's death.
But she jumped back on the stinking ship like an idiot.
They do Jack's death well. You've got to admit.
Yes.
They do Jack's
oh my god,
death
it's so my heart aches.
It's dramatic. Oh my gosh.
After Jack's death.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know. I cried the first time I saw that. It's sad.
Of course you did.
The thing is, he couldn't have. The thing that annoys me the most out of anything in this film that annoys me the most. I think one of the biggest cinema controversy theories in all cinema history is could Jack fit on the door at the end of Titanic? And I'm 100% certain that he could have.
Do you think?
Did you not see? Look, I'll show a picture. There's a photo. Look, of Rose on the side of it. There's like half the door.
But maybe he knew. Maybe he knew that he was going to die.
He could have fit on the door. He's such an idiot. At least he didn't even try. He put Rose on the door, and plopped her on the door, and then said, "Right, I'm going to sit here in the ocean till I freeze to death."
Well, yeah.
It's a bit stupid. He could have. He didn't even try to fit on the door. I'm very disappointed in that. How come no one says Rose doesn't say a word of protest until Kaladin goes up to him?
That's a good point.
He goes up to him and says, What do you think you're doing?
That's a good point.
It would have taken at least like 10 minutes for them to run all the way from the other end of the ship. I actually like how they do it. Is that like when Jack goes to their dinner, and then immediately after Rose goes to Jack's party. I like the way they've done that because they mirror each other's lives.
Exactly.
The whole point is they get to experience different parts of each other's very, very different separate lives.
It's like a tale of two cultures type
exactly.
thing.
It's a Romeo and Juliet type thing because they get to experience both of their lives and they kind of merge together to create Jack and Rose, which I love.
I think that takes us to the ending. Is the next general spot. The ending.
Yes.
What's your opinion on it?
Once again, the ending is I like this. I like it because the cinematography, they do it so well. They do so many things to capture the emotion. or more so the negative emotion of all the people, of all the crying and the sadness of all the people on the boat who know that their life is about to end. They do it so well.
I think
it touches the audience on such a personal level.
It's an emotional point.
Exactly, and they do it amazingly. They do it amazingly. But the thing is, like you were saying, Jack and Rose are kind of just there.
Yeah.
They're kind of just there.
There's not much of a development in the character.
The only time there's development in the characters is when they're in the sea.
Yeah.
And they're both sitting on the door.
Exactly. At the end, when we have this, like, heaven type thing.
Yes.
Because just before that,
Yes.
I do like how there's this symmetry of Rose then dies at an old age, like Jack told her to.
Yeah.
She throws the locket in the sea. It all comes back round to things ending up in the sea.
Yes.
Which was like how the locket was meant to go.
Yeah.
All of that, but then the quote unquote heaven.
Yes.
I think could have been done better. I would have liked.
I liked it.
I would have liked just her and Jack, as opposed to all of the other people in the Titanic.
Yes, but
what's your final thoughts then? Let's go into final.
Are we doing
thoughts.
final thoughts? What would we give the film out of 10? I'd say.
I'd say it's a solid 8.
Solid 8.
I know I've been critical, but I think that the way in which they've incorporated a love story into Titanic, I think, is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked more plot towards the end, but I can understand that was hard.
Yes.
And I thought that all of the characters were effective. They weren't two-dimensional at all. I loved the themes in it. I loved the class distinction and how it was authentic to the time. And I thought it was just a dramatic and
very good film. Classic.
The dramatic irony was incredible.
Yes.
I thought it was a cinematic masterpiece that had such a symmetry to it.
Yes.
How it came back to the locket.
Agreed.
That's my opinion.
The locket is the thing that holds it all together.
What about you?
I'm sorry. You're more harsh than me. I'd have to give it a 9 because it's just a classic film. I'm a sucker for romance films. I love the idea. I love the whole idea of it. It's such a great film. It is. And I love the love story and the division of class between the two of them, and the fact that they break that.
Yeah.
And the sinking at the end, the cinematic piece for the sinking it's beautiful. it's very very well done. Classic film. Would highly recommend to anyone. Right, guys.
Check out the Titanic.
Yes.
Disney Plus today.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see
you in the next video.
See you in the next live.
Check out for the original trilogy of Star Wars.
You said that last time. Right. See you in the
May the
next
Force
live.
be with you.
Bye.